Hi, I'm Alexis.
And I'm Christian, and this is our tiny house that we built in 2014.
And we're in Deschutes County, Oregon on a beautiful snowy day.
Our trailer is 20 feet long, but we have a 3-foot deck on the front, so the inside of our house is actually 17.5 feet long.
We built our tiny house with the help of friends and family, and it took about 9 months, and it was that quick actually because Christian was able to work on it mostly full time. And after we finished, we hit the road and lived nomadically for 5 years. We crisscrossed the United States multiple times, went into Canada, and ultimately the house went about 55,000 miles.
Which is a lot for a tiny house. While we were traveling around for 5 years, we were always keeping an eye out for a cool place to live. And we went through Central Oregon a few times and really loved it. So we ended up settling here.
And luckily it was just before the pandemic.
Yeah.
So we found a really great parking spot and we were able to save up a ton of money. That enabled us to buy this property where we're today, creating a little homestead. A lot of people think it's crazy that we towed this house around so much. And in fact, there's not that many wooden tiny houses on wheels that move around like we did.
Totally true.
But we can honestly say that the structure held up beautifully. We never had any problem with the structure at all.
Nope. We did go through probably 4 full sets of tires and had, I think, about 6 flats over those 5 years. So, you know, that was something.
Yeah, and the house got filthy on a regular basis. So like once a year, we used to power wash the siding.
We would bring it through a car wash and I would power wash the whole thing.
And then reseal it for the next year.
Yep.
Now we'd love to give you a tour of the inside. Come with us.
Yeah.
Welcome to our tiny home. It's about 130 square feet plus our 2 lofts.
And one of the coolest things I think about the house is that we built it with about 80% recycled or reclaimed materials. There is so many different stories in this whole house because of that.
Yeah, and you will not believe how much storage that we packed into here.
It's amazing.
It's places you probably wouldn't even think. We also built our tiny house with full-time travel in mind. And you'll notice our house is a little bit narrower than most tiny homes you'll see.
It's not just a little bit, it's a lot. Because like I am touching my fingertips on the left side and I can almost, if I just lean over this way, I can touch it on the other side. So it's literally 6.5 feet wide on the inside.
Where a lot of other tiny homes are more like 8 feet wide.
Yeah.
And I will say we did miss that extra width. It's amazing what you can do in just a couple feet.
Mm-hmm. And we've been in so many other tiny houses that if we had this to do all over again, we would do it very different.
So we tweak things over time, but a big thing we changed was the floors because we also participated in a ton of tiny house events.
We've done so many tiny house events that it's at least 75,000 people that have been through our 130 square foot tiny house.
And they wore down our floors.
Yeah, so there's a big groove in the floor from front to back. So we decided to change it.
So starting here in the living room, well, it's really kind of our everything room.
Yeah, the tiny house is one room, but this is the section of that one room, which we call the great room, because look how great it is. And over here is our entryway. And because we built such a specific tiny house, I mean, it is literally specific to us. The way we live, how we go about our lives, we wanted to make everything in the tiny house work just for us. So it was really important for us to, when we come home to our tiny house, to have that place to put our keys, our jackets, our shoes that are out of the way and we don't have to deal with until we're going to leave the house again. And because it's winter, we have our bulky jackets up here, so I'm going to take those down so you can see this better. And I'm going to take my hat off because it is warm in here. I didn't want to use anything boring in the house at all. So even hooks, I didn't want to get just regular old hooks to put on here. So we found these hooks at a flea market in Raleigh, and they hold important stuff, not just jackets, but like every tiny houser, we have the headlamps, you know, just in case. And behind me is our shoe rack, and everybody loves this thing because it is a small space, a little 1 by 6 foot space. This holds 20 pairs of shoes. I think I found this like idea on Pinterest. It's basically just a toe in. So the toe of your shoe goes in, that's what holds it up. It works really well. When we were traveling, I always knew how bumpy the road was by how many shoes fell off of this rack. It would be like, oh, it was only a 2-shoe road, or sometimes it was like Dallas. It was a 20 pairs of shoe road. It was so bad. And over here, we have our massive sofa. It's as big as me because I wanted a sofa to be able to lay down on and take a nap. So that's why it's this big. And this sofa is top loading. You know, it still has little things under there where you can open up and get to whatever's underneath, but it's such a pain in the neck. You got to take all this stuff off and throw it over there. I didn't like that. So I ended up taking the fronts off and making drawers. Oh, so I made massive drawers to go in these guys. And this is so much better. So if you ever do a tiny house sofa like this, like a built-in sofa, do drawers, don't do top loading.
Life can get stressful, so a little me time at the end of the day can go a long way to help me relax this busy brain. And a little bit of gaming is a good way to reset so I can enjoy my evening. June's Journey has been my game of choice lately. It's a free to download, fun and intriguing murder mystery game that immerses you in the roaring 20s. Search for objects and clues hidden in beautifully crafted scenes. It's kind of weird how satisfying it is to find hidden objects. In between helping June Parker solve her sister's murder, enjoy customizing your very own tiny mansion and garden island. Mystery meets I Spy meets home improvement. What's not to love? This game keeps me in the moment, and that helps melt away the stress of the workday. Download June's Journey for free by clicking the link in the description below or scanning the QR code on the screen. June's Journey is available on Android and iOS mobile devices. Also available on PC through Facebook Games.
Alexis and I both feel like you absolutely need a really good table in a tiny house because you need somewhere to sit and work or eat dinner. You need a table. And we have gone through a couple iterations of this table right here. And this is, it just pops up like that right now and has a piece that slides out. This is so it would, so somebody could sit here, and I would sit here all the time and work on my computer, and Alexis would sit there. And the first table that we had was one piece with a leg that kicked out that came all the way to here. So if she was working over there and I was doing something else, the table was out so far I couldn't get by. I'd have to like go like this to get by. But with making it at a slide, now I could just walk by. And this made everything so much better. So adding functionality and saving space was a real important part of this table. And one of the cooler things that I was able to do was hide something inside of it. And that is our television. So right here is our TV. So it's on a couple drawer slides. I put in this little pin at the bottom and it holds it up. And then I go ahead and can put this back. That's why this thing is cut out like this. It's so the little slider could go up. And then I can still use the desk. And if I want to put that back up, it's all still the same height. And the cool thing about that is it's not just straight like this. It's on an arm, so I can move it. If you're in the kitchen, you can watch it. Or if I'm sitting by myself on the sofa, I can sit here and watch it. It's great. So that really worked out well, and it was really hard to figure out how to do that. It took me many, many times to figure out that mechanism. And it's actually on drawer slides, and the pin is what holds it all together. Another useful part of this table is the storage I made underneath. And what that's for is for our hard drives.
And on this side of the great room is another fantastic multifunctional space. That was something that we added a couple years after living in our tiny house. And it's this awesome standing desk. So in this space between our kitchen counter and the end of the sofa, we had a dead space. And the first thing we thought of was, it'd be really great if we had a couple more hooks, because you can never have too many hooks, and we didn't have a good place to put our backpacks. So first we added these. We do use this space in the wintertime for our electric oil radiator heater. The great thing about this is it's super inexpensive. I think like $50. It heats our whole house beautifully, and you don't need a whole lot of clearance on either side of it. So it makes it great for small spaces. So here on our standing desk cabinet, we have a whiteboard, which came in handy for writing to-do lists. And then there's a little latch that you unhook, and ta-da! A little table space, perfect for a small laptop. And then inside we have a variety of shelves where we could store both of our laptops, paperwork, odds and ends that everyone has that you just don't want cluttering your space. And just over here is our kitchen, which is one of my favorite places in the entire tiny house. And it's what we like to call a 1.5 butt kitchen.
Yeah, but you got to show them. You can't just like, look, it's because it's kind of small. As you can see, like one butt one way, one butt the other way.
No, yes.
Half a butt. I have kind of a half a butt,
So yeah.
So it's kind of small.
It's a little tight.
So what else you can tell them about the kitchen? Is this weird?
It's a little weird. It's a little awkward.
It's a little too much?
A little awkward.
But this is tiny house living. Why is it like this?
But
We actually did stuff like this a lot.
This is like Portlandia. But over here are these gorgeous countertops that Christian made. Yeah. And there's a special story behind these.
Yeah, there's always a story. Like we said, I want to say that the countertops were fun to make, but it took so much time to make these. And these are from wood that we actually call tornado wood. And what happened a few years before we started building our tiny house, a tornado, an E4 tornado, jumped over my parents' house and landed in the woods on a farmer's property next door and tore down all of these trees. And what the farmer and a buddy of his did was decide to mill them all. A year or so later, he heard that we were doing this project, and he's like, I have so much wood, I don't know what to do with it, so take as much as you want. So we did. So almost every single 2x4 in this house is from that tornado wood, and it's dimensional, so it's 2 by 4 inches. That's one reason the house is so skinny on the inside. But there's like 6 different kinds of wood in these countertops, which make it look so pretty. And right here, this is actually the cutout that we used from cutting out the sink.
It did have a functional use sometimes. I have used it on occasion when I needed a little extra counter space. It's always great to have a pull out, a flip up, or in this case, a drop in. The other great thing about these counters is we're both tall people, especially Christian. He's 6'2", is the height. These are above standard counter height, and it makes it so much easier to, as a tall person, to cut, to wash dishes, so you're not hunching over so far. So great job, Christian.
Thanks.
Another benefit of having extra tall counters is you get more space for storage beneath. And right over here is where we have our fridge. And over here is under the sink cabinet and our trash and recycling drawer that you can conveniently pull out with your foot. I really like that. Oh, and here you'll see our curtains. I just love these because I love the woodsy, cozy charm we have going on in here. All the curtains in our house came from remnant fabric. There was a furniture market that happened in North Carolina, and at the end of the show, they just had boxes and boxes of leftover goods. So we got our hands on these remnants, but a single piece was too small, so we actually had to choose 2 prints that we liked, that we thought went well together, and then we could make curtains. And credit goes to Christian's mom. Thank you, Joyce. She's the one who sewed these for us. Over here we have 2 large open shelves also came from reclaimed wood. And we got a little creative with the storage here. We found this like grilling accessory basket and took it apart. It happened to fit our plates just perfect. So when we traveled, these would always stay put. So that was really convenient. And then you got this handle, perfect for paper towels. And down here is a whole lot of storage behind this curtain. We have a series of these metal wire drawers that we use for a pantry. You could fit tons of stuff in here. Christian actually found these on the curb in New York City when he was living there. Someone was just throwing these away. Perfectly good. And down here is a big deep drawer, which is great for pots and pans. We have an apartment size propane range. Love this thing. It's so cute. And I'm so happy we had 4 burners because apparently I cannot cook unless I'm using 3 of those burners. So really glad we went for that.
We've been together about 11 years and working together for about 9 of those. And the whole time we've been working together, we've been probably about this far apart.
We're documentary filmmakers and we're the creators behind the Tiny House Expedition YouTube channel. And this whole journey got started with us taking a road trip within the first few months of dating. Mm-hmm. I first got introduced to tiny houses through Christian.
Yeah, it's totally my fault.
Since I was a kid, I've always been a lover of tree houses and forts, and I built quite a few as a young person. But it was after that Michigan road trip we took that, and as we were thinking about how to do more of this, we were like, maybe we could build teardrop trailer. Mm-hmm. And then Christian was like, have you ever seen a tiny house on wheels?
Mm-hmm. I think the first tiny house I ever saw was the outdoor research tiny house, which was Zach Giffin's tiny house. So he used to travel because he was a professional skier and he would go travel in the house.
Like so many other people, once I learned about tiny houses, I fell down a rabbit hole and was watching videos, reading any articles I could find, you know, the whole thing for the next several months. And I just fell in love with them. They really resonated with me because I was in a period of transition in my life, like post-divorce, and I'd just been feeling super overwhelmed and stressed out, and the idea of simplifying just felt right. And of course, being a lover of small spaces, I was like, this could be a really cool way to start a new chapter. And so ultimately, I ended up pitching Christian.
Hey, yeah.
I called him up. I mean, at this point, we'd only been dating for about a year. Yeah. And I was like, okay, I got this great idea. I want to build a tiny house.
You want to build it.
I want to build a tiny house because I think this is a good fit for me. But also, I've learned about all these cool ways that tiny homes are being used around the country. And I was just like, there's so much story here. So I've been working in marketing and was eager to get back to filmmaking. And so anyway, so I'm kind of an all or nothing person. And
Apparently.
I was like, do you want to do this with me?
Yeah. And I thought about it and I was like, yes, if I can have air conditioning in the house and my own bed. That was the 2 conditions I had. And I got both.
It's like, I can live with that.
Yeah.
And behind our bathroom door is the other part of our pantry. I love this because this is such a great small space solution. This is a non-structural wall, so we were able to recess these shelves inside of it without causing any problems. So we made the shelves the perfect height for jars. You know, it's so nice to be able to just see what you have. So if you can see back here, there's 2 different colors of wood, and these are actually the original colors that came from the panels that we pulled down from an old farmhouse. So it's pretty neat to have that. It gives a little pop of color. And it was such a fun day that we spent with a group of people as part of Habitat for Humanity, pulling down as much as we could from the house, and Habitat would take the things that they could resell, but things like wood they can't resell, so we were able to keep that for free. So make friends with your local Habitat for Humanity. So when it's time to move, simply slide the bathroom door over the pantry, and there's a little latch over here. Boom. And it keeps everything in place. We've never had any jars break from any of our moves. And back here is our bathroom. Our bathroom might be extra tiny, but it's completely space maximized. Every inch pretty much has been used in here to add some kind of function. And the best example of that is our over-the-toilet vanity that Christian dreamed up. And a key feature is this fold-down shelf over the potty, the composting toilet. Here I can put my makeup and look at the mirror back here and get ready in the morning. It's a real luxury. And it's almost a full-length mirror too, which is quite an achievement in such a itty-bitty space. Originally, we had a self-built composting toilet, but later on we upgraded to a nature's head, which was fantastic when we were traveling. It's a great off-grid toilet solution. However, we got tired of emptying the canister for the urine, and Christian ended up piping the urine out of the house. So much easier. You don't have to worry about overflowing, which is not fun. And on this side of the bathroom is our shower. It's a 36 by 36 shower, which is pretty spacious for a tiny house, particularly one of this size, and it was 100% worth it. The shower surround is made from galvanized metal scraps from the place where we got our metal roof, so that was free. It's a little dumpster dive. Across from the kitchen counters is our closet, but most people don't realize it's here because it's built into the wall, and with this wallpaper it kind of just disappears. So inside of here is a surprising amount of storage. There are 6 crates that Christian made. Now, initially, Christian envisioned that this would be a perfect size for a milk crate, and he had collected some milk crates, but the dimensions were just a little too tiny, so he ended up having to make these, and then he realized, oh, they're actually really heavy, built out of plywood, so he cut all these circles in them to loosen it up. But each of us have 3 of these, and it's insane the number of t-shirts and pants that you could fit in here. Christian has 15 pairs of pants, and he can fit 15 pairs of pants in one of these. Next to the shelving is a hanging storage space. It's only 6 inches wide, but you can fit quite a few nice shirts and a dress or 2 in there, which is great for when we got to be spiffy. Also, other miscellaneous stuff like the telescoping ladder that we now use to access the storage loft.
So across from our sofa is another seat right here. This is usually where Alexis sits, and she'll sit here with the table up and sit and work on her computer. The cool thing is, like everything else in the house, it does other stuff. Inside here is a huge storage bin that's absolutely massive, and this whole thing moves. So it slides back and forth, so if Alexis was sitting there and needed a little bit more leg room, she could pull it out. We can even pull it out and put it on the porch if we wanted to. When designing the steps to get up to our loft, I needed to make them as compact as possible, so I incorporated them into the closet. And the way I did that was I created this hidden step right here, which is super strong, and it's a 1-inch piece of oak. It took me 3 different tries of building a set of stairs and tearing it down and building it again to finally come to this conclusion. Just because every time I'd build it, it would go like partially into the window when we couldn't have our desk. So after doing it so many times, this is what I came up with. These steps are 20 inches apart, so they're kind of stout. You know, they're not for everybody, but you know, we made it for us specifically. So for us, it's great. And up in our loft, it is super simple because all we do up there is sleep. So we have a queen bed. We actually have 5 opening windows up there, and one of them is big enough as an egress window. I just might have to like try hard to squeeze my butt out of it. And for fun, I decided to try and make some light fixtures, which are made out of black pipe.
So across from our sleeping loft is a storage loft that used to store a little boy.
Just a random little boy.
When we started building the tiny house, my son Garrett was just 7 years old. And now he's 17 and taller than me. Garrett used to travel with us part-time. About every 3 months, he would come out with us somewhere on the road and had a really great time. We got to see my family spread out all over the country.
And because of us traveling so much, Garrett has been to like 7 different states and met tons of different people. He is definitely a well-rounded kid because of that.
Yeah, he actually talks a lot about that now, about how that kind of opened up his perspective. Mm-hmm. And he really liked his loft. It was so cute. He had input during the build.
Yes, he did. Yeah.
Can there be like something for me to make them go down? Like to carry stuff down and...
Oh, like a pulley system.
Yeah.
He wanted a table.
Mm-hmm. So he could do his Legos.
Yes, exactly. So it would fold down from the ceiling, and he had a little bed and a toy basket on a pulley. So it was great for a long time. It worked, but the kid wouldn't stop growing.
Yeah.
So a few years back, we knew that we needed to find something else, another solution for us. And luckily, stars aligned, and we were saving money and were able to buy this great little homestead with an A-frame cabin that is a luxurious 800 square feet.
Mm-hmm. Massive.
But he can have a room that his tall body can fit in, so it's perfect.
Absolutely perfect.
And as much as I love tiny houses, because I really do, we're kind of obsessed,
Yeah.
as you know if you watch our channel.
Yep.
But A-frame was my original childhood dream home. So dreams do come true. Now we have like 1 million projects.
Yeah.
Because when you're a nomadic tiny house dweller, you don't have any landscaping to do. There's very little house maintenance. And now we have
All of it.
But it feels right now, and it's actually great to have a stationary home base, and it's a place that we love in Central Oregon near a ski resort because we like to snowboard.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of great. And so we have a lot of plans, and part of those plans include renting out our tiny house long-term to somebody who needs a great, affordable place to live.
The cost of the tiny house was around $25,000, and that includes the value of a lot of things that we got for free.
You know, maybe the value of the things we got for free, I don't know, might have been upwards of $8,000.
Yeah.
But we spent months sourcing materials before the build and during the beginning of the build. There must be almost an infinite amount of ways to take a small space and come up with different ways to use it.
Yeah.
Also really cool to see how people make the space work for themselves. Because there's always a personalized spin.
Yeah. Which should always happen. Like Jay Schaefer says, you know, it's a portrait of the person that lives in it. So, and that's absolutely what our house is.
Thank you for watching our video and for stopping by Tiny House Expedition. I'm Alexis.
And I'm Christian. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.
And for more tiny home tours and stories, click the videos below.
And join us on Instagram for bonus content,
including face-to-face conversations with us. We hope to see you there.
All right.
Thanks, guys.
Have a good one.
Download June's Journey for free by clicking the link in the description below.